Imagine for a moment that deep within your being lies an incredible ability, the power to address any request to the universe and witness your desires manifest into reality, as if by magic. This isn't about mystical spells or secret esoteric formulas, but something immeasurably deeper and more fundamental, something the eminent thinker Carl Jung discovered and meticulously documented after decades of painstaking research into the human psyche. What is about to be revealed has the potential to radically transform your very understanding of the process of asking and receiving in your own life. Jung, delving into the mysteries of the subconscious, found that there are not just one but two completely different ways to make requests of the cosmos, one that leads to realization and another that invariably leads to disappointment. Most people, unfortunately, tend to make requests driven by ego impulses, stemming from a sense of acute need and from deep fears and anxieties. Their requests are permeated by scarcity, anxiety, and a desire to fill an inner void with external attributes. But when a person masters the art of asking from their true being, from that intangible yet powerful connection to the vast collective unconscious, the universe simply cannot help but respond. Its answer becomes inevitable. Have you ever wondered why some individuals seem to effortlessly receive everything they desire, while others constantly face obstacles and struggle tirelessly for the smallest achievement? The difference between them lies not in blind luck, favorable circumstances, or initial advantage. It lies in how these individuals connect with their inner strength, their deep potential, at the very moment they formulate a request. Jung aptly called this state psychic alignment, a harmonious attunement of consciousness and the unconscious. Whenever you make a request of the cosmos but your desire does not materialize, the reason is not that the universe denies you or ignores your call. The true reason lies in the existence of a deep chasm, a disharmony between what your superficial ego passionately desires and what your immortal soul truly needs. This is the first fundamental revelation that Carl Jung bequeathed to humanity, changing our understanding of interaction with unseen forces. The universe always responds, always engages in dialogue, but to hear its answer and receive what is desired, one must learn to speak its own universal language. It often happens that a person, when making a request, invests all their energy into it, but feels that the spoken words seem to dissolve into a bottomless void. How often does an individual encounter the feeling that, despite their efforts, what they desire remains unattainable? Carl Gustav Jung offered a striking explanation for this common phenomenon. In his view, the essence is not the person's lack of ability to ask, but that the request does not come from the right source. The unconscious, according to Jung, is like a boundless ocean of possibilities. When requests come from a superficial level, that is, from the conscious mind, which is often burdened by fears and numerous limitations, they merely skim across this vast ocean without penetrating its depths. However, when a person learns to dive deep, when they make a request from the very essence of their being, they touch a primal source of power that transcends all logic and rational comprehension. This is where the key discovery lies, capable of radically transforming a person's approach to asking. The universe, it turns out, reacts not to simple words but to the powerful energy behind them. Jung discovered that when deep congruence is achieved between a person's conscious mind, their personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious, a resonance is created so powerful and all-encompassing that the cosmic order simply cannot ignore it. It is often noted that one of the most significant mistakes people make when making a request is that these requests are dictated by desperation, a sense of need, or a deep feeling of lack. Carl Jung taught that such energy, stemming from deficit, erects an invisible barrier between the person and what they seek to receive. In essence, this is equivalent to an unspoken statement to the universe: I am not worthy of this. Notably, those who ultimately obtain what they desire are not always the most deserving or the most diligent. Rather, they are individuals who have mastered the art of bringing their shadow into harmony with their light, their conscious principle with their unconscious, and their ego with their true self. A legitimate question arises: How is this internal alignment achieved? First and foremost, it is necessary to realize that everything a person can ask for already exists in the boundless field of infinite possibilities. Jung referred to this as the pleroma, a space where everything is potentially present. Thus, the individual's task is not to create the desired from scratch, but to tune into its frequency, allowing it to manifest in their reality. This is where the truly revolutionary aspect lies. Before making any request, Jung strongly recommended deep self-knowledge. The reason for this is simple. Often, what a person thinks they desire is merely a projection of their deep fears or conditioned responses. When the request comes from a person's true essence, when it resonates with their authentic life purpose, the universe actively facilitates its realization. Carl Jung, the eminent thinker, viewed archetypes as powerful, universal forces constantly operating in the depths of our unconscious. When a person learns to recognize and effectively interact with these fundamental images, when they grasp which archetype dominates their life at a particular moment, they gain the ability to formulate their requests in a way that resonates deeply with the cosmic energies themselves. For example, if the warrior archetype is actively manifesting in an individual, a request emanating from a state of vulnerability will not find the necessary resonance. In such a situation, one must ask based on their own inner strength, on unwavering determination. If the lover archetype predominates, the request should be expressed through the lens of passion, through a deep and sincere emotional connection. This archetypal understanding serves as a key to ensuring that a person does not encounter refusal in their aspirations. It has been repeatedly observed that when something is not vitally necessary for a person, it often enters their life with surprising ease. Jung explained this phenomenon through the concept of conscious non-attachment. Its essence is not to completely abandon desires, but to desire without excessive attachment to the outcome, to ask without desperation, to seek without inner anxiety. In the very process of asking, there is a magical moment. It is that precise moment when the individual completely lets go of control over the outcome. Jung described it as the instant when the personal ego submits and surrenders to the higher self. It is in this moment of complete surrender that an unseen portal opens between a person's current reality and the boundless field of all existing possibilities. But there is another astonishing discovery Jung made. He found that the universe has its own unique language, and this language is deeply symbolic. When a person makes a request using symbols, when they actively work with archetypal images, when they engage the power of dreams and the force of active imagination, their request acquires truly extraordinary and attractive energy. The true impediment preventing the realization of requests is often not a lack of deep conviction or a perceived absence of personal merit. The genuine obstacle is a deep internal contradiction. Carl Gustav Jung, the eminent thinker, emphasized the critical importance of integrating the so-called shadow before voicing any desire. If one part of a person's being sincerely strives for something, while another, unconscious part, subtly rejects it, a kind of energetic short circuit occurs. Such an imbalance, in his opinion, inevitably neutralizes the very essence of the request, rendering its potential for manifestation null. One of the most profound secrets concerning the art of asking that Jung revealed to the world lies in the concept of divine timing. The crux of the matter is not only what a person asks for or how they do it, but also precisely when it happens. There is a special moment called kairos, a moment of cosmic opportunity when the voiced desire perfectly harmonizes with the universal rhythms of being. Jung dedicated himself to meticulous research of natural cycles. He studied lunar phases, the changing seasons, and significant transition moments. As a result of his investigations, he identified the existence of specific time intervals when the veil between worlds becomes significantly thinner. It is during these periods that a person's requests acquire incomparably greater power to materialize. Learning to recognize and utilize these moments is an indispensable part of mastering the art of proper asking. Next, it is worth considering the power of anticipatory gratitude. Jung noted that people who express gratitude even before actually receiving what they desire, who experience a deep sense of possessing what they ask for, create an irresistible field of attraction around themselves. This phenomenon should not be confused with superficial or trivial positive thinking. It represents a profound awareness that, at the quantum level of reality, everything that can be already exists in potential. It has been observed that when an individual asks not for themselves but for others, especially if this action is performed completely selflessly, what is desired seems to manifest with astonishing speed. Carl Gustav Jung, the eminent psychologist and thinker, brilliantly explained this phenomenon. He asserted that in moments when a person asks on behalf of others, their personal ego, usually dominant, seems to recede into the background. This retreat of the ego creates space, allowing universal love to flow unimpeded through the requester. In such a state, free from egoistic barriers, the person becomes a pure conduit for manifestation. Jung also developed a special technique known as dialogue with the self. This practice dictates that before directing any request to the universe, a person should engage in a deep conversation with their higher being. During this internal questioning, a key question is asked: does what I desire align with my highest path? Only when an unequivocal yes comes from the depths of one's being does the person proceed to formulate their request to the universe. Furthermore, Jung spoke of the paramount importance of rituals in the process of making requests. He emphasized that this is not a manifestation of superstition, but rather a conscious approach, as ritualistic actions possess a unique ability to directly influence the unconscious. When an individual creates their personal ritual for their requests and performs it with full intention and conscious presence, they thereby activate powerful archetypal forces. These deep, universal energies, embedded in the collective unconscious, begin to work in their favor, contributing to the realization of what is desired. However, Jung strongly warned against one extremely important detail. He cautioned about the serious danger inherent in requests emanating from an inflated ego. When a person asks for something to impress others, to fill internal emotional voids, or to escape from their own shadow, the universe, in his view, responds to such requests not with desired gifts, but rather valuable lessons. Sometimes, even unexpectedly, a complete refusal of what was asked for can turn out to be the greatest blessing, guiding one onto a more truthful path. One of the most subtle yet powerful obstacles to well-being is often unconscious guilt. Carl Gustav Jung, the eminent thinker, discovered that many individuals inadvertently undermine their own aspirations and requests because deep down they do not feel worthy of receiving what they desire. Working with this inner feeling of guilt, its subsequent integration and transformation are indispensable conditions for unlocking the doors leading to abundance. Jung also paid significant attention to the concept of active synchronicity. This idea is not limited to the simple process of formulating a request and passively awaiting a response. It implies deep attentiveness to signs, to those meaningful coincidences that the universe sends in response to our requests. Every such synchronicity serves as convincing confirmation that a person's appeal has been heard. The universe often responds in completely unpredictable ways. Jung taught that one should not be overly rigid about the specific form in which the desired will manifest. Sometimes, when people ask for financial means, they receive new opportunities for earning instead. When they seek love, they may first be given lessons in developing self-love. True wisdom lies in the ability to recognize the essence of the answer, regardless of its external form. There is a fundamental Jungian principle stating, what one resists, persists. What one accepts, transforms. When an individual makes a request for something while simultaneously internally resisting their current life situation, an energetic paradox arises. Only complete and unconditional acceptance of the present moment becomes a powerful springboard for the manifestation of the desired future. The renowned thinker Jung, among other things, delved deeply into the study of the potential of dreams, viewing them as an effective tool for forming requests. He proposed an approach in which, before falling asleep, an individual should clearly formulate their request, addressing the unconscious in the form of a question. Often, subsequent dreams contain important guidance that can serve as keys to manifesting what is desired, or reveal internal obstacles that require prior removal. Often the question arises why some requests are realized almost instantly, while others may require years of waiting. Jung offered a very insightful answer to this. Every request, in his opinion, has its own unique psychic maturation time. This means that to receive certain things, a person must first grow internally, reach a certain level of readiness. The universe, in his wise observation, will never provide anything until the individual is completely ready for it. Within Jungian psychology, there is a powerful and significant concept known as the transcendent function. This function is described as the unique ability to hold opposing forces in a state of creative tension until a completely new, third solution emerges from this interaction. When a person makes a request, they often have to maintain a delicate balance between passionate desire and a state of non-attachment, allowing manifestation to occur naturally. Jung tirelessly reminded us that people are not merely petitioners begging for mercy, but active co-creators in the universal process. They act not as beggars, but as full-fledged participants in the grand cosmic dance of creation. When a request comes from such a deep understanding of one's role, from this inner strength and awareness, the energetic field surrounding it acquires an entirely different quality. Fear sometimes acts as a powerful destroyer of our sincere aspirations. Carl Jung, the eminent thinker, asserted that this feeling generates a specific vibrational frequency that, like an invisible force, repels from a person what they seek. However, according to his teachings, true wisdom lies not in attempting to completely eradicate fear from one's being. On the contrary, the task is to learn to accept it, harmoniously integrate it into one's psychic structure, and moreover, transform this energy into a feeling of exciting anticipation and positive expectation. Furthermore, Jung drew attention to the concept of the morphogenetic field of requests. He believed that when many individuals direct their thoughts and desires toward a similar goal, a powerful collective energetic field emerges. This field, like an invisible matrix, significantly simplifies and accelerates the process of manifestation for each participant. It follows that a plea or request aimed at achieving the common good possesses a truly extraordinary multiplying power capable of augmenting positive results for the entire community. No less important an aspect, Jung emphasized, is absolute clarity of formulation when making a request. He pointed out that vague and uncertain requests inevitably lead to equally unclear and ambiguous results. However, true clarity, in his opinion, is not merely a product of rational thinking. It stems from a deep connection with one's authentic inner essence. Only when an individual knows their true nature do they gain the ability to clearly understand what exactly to ask for and how to do it to receive what is desired. Finally, Jung described a unique psychological phenomenon called the golden shadow. This concept refers to those outstanding and beautiful qualities that individuals unconsciously attribute to other people because they are incapable or unwilling to recognize their presence within themselves. Thus, when a person makes a request for something but secretly is convinced of their own unworthiness of it, they are effectively projecting their golden shadow outward. Reclaiming and recognizing these inner merits becomes a fundamental key to successfully receiving what is desired, as it restores inner harmony and self-confidence. Carl Gustav Jung, the eminent thinker, also paid special attention to the significance of the physical body in the process of making a request. He asserted that the body itself is endowed with inner wisdom and a unique connection to the deeper layers of the unconscious. When a person formulates their request, not just at the level of rational thought, but also engages their whole being, feeling this desire with every cell of their organism, they achieve an astonishing, almost irresistible harmony between their inner world and external expression. Notably, according to Jung's observations, the universe itself seems to possess a peculiar sense of humor. He remarked that sometimes human appeals are met in such unexpected and amusing ways that it evokes genuine laughter, unfeigned surprise, and, importantly, teaches one not to take oneself or one's desires overly seriously. Maintaining a light, almost playful mood during the formulation of a request, in his opinion, represented a cornerstone of a successful process. Moreover, Jung drew a clear distinction between superficial ego desires and the deep calls of the soul. He characterized ego desires as momentary, often fleeting, and not always reflecting a person's true needs. In contrast, he described the calls of the soul as deeply rooted, invariably persistent, and stemming from the very core of one's being. When a person masters the art of discerning these two types of impulses, they gain a precise understanding of what is truly worth asking for, and what, conversely, is wiser to release and not hold on to. Finally, silence, in Jung's conviction, acts as an extraordinarily powerful ally in the art of making requests. He himself regularly practiced prolonged periods of deep silence before voicing his significant requests. In such absolute quiet, the noisy and often distracting voice of the ego gradually quiets, allowing the deeper and truer voice of the true self to emerge. It is from this space of inner harmony and stillness that a person's requests acquire truly extraordinary, transformative power. In his research, Carl Gustav Jung also explored the potential of nature in the process of forming requests. He believed that the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, can act as influential partners. When a person makes a request while by the boundless ocean, on a majestic mountaintop, or under the canopy of a starry sky, they, according to Jung, establish a connection with primordial forces which multiply the effectiveness of their appeal. There is also the art of skillfully observing such requests. Jung strongly recommended keeping a journal, recording both the requests themselves and the emerging synchronicities, not for maniacal control, but to hone one's own receptiveness to the subtle manifestations of the universe in its responses. Often, the sought-after answer is already available, yet people sometimes fail to notice its presence. Active patience differs significantly from passive waiting. Jung spoke of the necessity of maintaining creative tension in anticipation of the desired's realization. This state is comparable to a drawn bowstring ready to shoot. A person maintains the energy of their intention while remaining open and sensitive to how it will manifest. Surely, many have noticed, as soon as you stop desperately searching for something, what you're looking for suddenly appears. Jung explained this phenomenon through the law of enantiodromia, according to which, when something reaches its culmination, it transforms into its antithesis. Thus, obsessive searching turns into counteraction, while release from effort transforms into attractiveness. Carl Gustav Jung, the eminent thinker, repeatedly emphasized that every appeal, every request, holds the deepest opportunity for personal growth and inner transformation. He asserted that even if the desired does not materialize exactly, the very act of conscious and sincere inquiry is capable of transforming the individual. In the process of such an appeal, a person gains greater clarity of thought, inner harmony, and establishes a stronger connection with their true self. An indispensable and powerful prerequisite for an effective request is forgiveness. Jung pointed out that old grievances and oppressive feelings of guilt can form invisible yet powerful energetic blocks that hinder the free process of manifestation in reality. Thus, before proceeding to formulate something new, it is crucial to perform a deep cleansing of one's own energetic field. This is achieved through genuine forgiveness, with particular attention paid to the act of self-forgiveness, freeing oneself from the burden of past mistakes and self-dissatisfaction. Furthermore, Jung spoke of the existence of unseen helpers, a kind of invisible allies. He explained that when an appeal comes from the deepest part of the heart, filled with sincerity, and when it is harmoniously attuned to the principles of higher good, then the individual begins to attract benevolent forces that actively assist their endeavors. At this moment, a person realizes that they are not alone in their aspiration. On the contrary, the entire universe begins to actively cooperate when a request is formulated and directed in accordance with the universal laws of the cosmos. True vulnerability, contrary to popular belief, appears not as weakness, but as a powerful inner strength in the process of making a request. Jung emphasized that when a person dares to appear absolutely authentic, without embellishment, when they shed all their social masks and protective barriers during the formulation of a request, then they touch the deepest universal truth that resonates in the very heart of the cosmos, in the very essence of being. In the cosmos there exists a truly magical boundary, which the eminent thinker Carl Jung once called the inflection point. This is not merely a fleeting moment, but rather a critical stage when any request addressed to the world ceases to be merely a vague desire and transforms into an all-consuming, unwavering inner certainty. When an individual reaches that unique point, where they know and feel with every fibre of their being, every cell and nerve, that the object of their plea or aspiration already belongs to them, already embodied in reality, then, according to Jung, the manifestation of the desired becomes not merely probable, but absolutely inevitable. Beyond individual aspirations, Jung also deeply explored and recognized the immense power of collective consciousness in the manifestation process. He asserted that when a group of people unites their intentions, focusing on a single goal with the purest heart and selfless motivation, a powerful energetic vortex emerges, facilitating the rapid materialization of what is desired. It is for this reason, as Jung emphasized, that ancient practices like collective prayers and shared meditations possess such phenomenal, almost mystical power. They create a synergistic field where the energy of each participant significantly amplifies the collective intention. According to Jung, the most crucial element completing any act of asking is deep and sincere gratitude. He strongly recommended concluding every request with an expression of profound appreciation, not only for the blessings yet to be received in the future, but also for everything that already exists in one's life in the here and now. Such all-encompassing gratitude, according to his teachings, is not merely a polite gesture. It creates a complete, closed, energetic loop that, as it were, stamps and seals each request with an unbreakable seal of love and harmony. This closes the energy cycle, ensuring its free and unhindered flow. One should always remember the fundamental principle of interacting with the cosmos. The universe, contrary to simplified notions, is not a soulless vending machine where one merely inserts a request to immediately receive the desired outcome. On the contrary, it is a living, conscious, and deeply loving organism that responds not to mechanical requests, but to the authenticity of intentions, to an individual's inner coherence, and to their alignment with the true, higher purpose of their existence. When a person truly grasps this profound truth, their perception of reality fundamentally changes, opening entirely new horizons for creation and manifestation. Carl Gustav Jung, an eminent thinker, bequeathed to posterity a fundamental teaching of exceptional power and depth. According to this teaching, the true and greatest gift lies not in directly receiving what is desired, for which one might ask, but in the transformation of oneself, in becoming a person truly capable of containing and embracing that desired outcome. Every formulated request, therefore, is not merely an expression of need, but a profound invitation to inner growth, to expanding the boundaries of one's own consciousness, and to realizing the fullness of who one truly is in their essence. Now that these profound mysteries of existence have been revealed, and one has grasped the true mechanics of making a proper request, a special responsibility falls upon them. They must use this knowledge with the utmost wisdom. One should ask not only for personal gain or the satisfaction of individual ambitions, but also for the universal good, for the prosperity of all existence. For when a request is born from universal love, when its essence is directed toward benefiting all creation, then the universe, being a part of this love, can answer with nothing but an affirmative yes. A unique moment arrives for each individual. The universe awaits their address, eager to hear, but for this, one must speak to it in its own sacred language. This means that the request must stem from the deepest truth of one's soul, from their indissoluble connection with all that exists, from that transcendent place where their limited, small self merges with the boundless, all-encompassing self, the source of all being. Readers are strongly urged to immediately apply the valuable lessons they have learned. They are invited to choose something they sincerely desire, something that deeply resonates with their innermost aspirations, and the essence of their soul. Next, they should consistently apply these fundamental Jungian principles, formulate the request from their inner integrity with absolute clarity of intention, with sincere love, and, no less importantly, with a complete absence of attachment to a specific outcome. After this, one needs only to observe carefully and be sensitive to the manifestations of synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, to various signs, and to the mysterious, sometimes subtle ways in which the universe begins to reorganize itself to ultimately materialize and grant what was requested. Before embarking on the next step of their journey, one should close their eyes for a moment. They are invited to take a deep breath, to feel that indissoluble connection with infinity that has always been present, awaiting recognition. It is from this deep state of consciousness that one is recommended to formulate their first conscious request. This action is intended to initiate a completely different, more harmonious way of interacting with the boundless universe. It is important to realize that humanity is not a humble supplicant begging for meager crumbs of existence. On the contrary, one acts as a co-creator with the universe, being essentially an infinite being, temporarily residing in a finite world and experiencing this. When a request stems from this profound understanding, when one recalls their true essence and their place in the cosmic design, then nothing, absolutely nothing, can be denied to them in its fulfillment. Life itself eagerly awaits to answer a sincere call. The universe listens attentively to every inner impulse. All that is required is to formulate one's request correctly, that it stems from one's inner truth, is filled with unconditional love, and then to trust the process, release control over the outcome, and allow true magic to manifest in reality. It should be remembered that the true secret lies not in the specific words uttered when making a request, but in the deep source from which they originate. When that source is the human heart, inextricably linked with the heart of the universe, then miracles cease to be rare exceptions and become an inherent rule of existence.